Yeah. Well, he's got to get on when we start it, right? There it is.
Yeah, yeah. All right, we are live. B Macy is on the show right now, and my man Scully has been
Yo,
back and working through some
and
tech
from my man Scully.
difficulties.
Yeah, I want to show people my man Scully. I have the James Tony, Roy Jones boxing shirt, and it's autographed by both fighters. It's autographed by James Tony and Roy Jones. And Iceman took me down in about 1998 or 1997 to stay with Roy Jones as manager for his bout that he had with Timothy Littles. Or no, Tony Thornton. Boom, Tony Thornton in Pensacola. And I got to hang out with all the with Al Cole and all the Pensacola crew due to the Iceman's allegiance and connections. Thank you, sir.
Nice. Yeah, man, we watched like just man, you don't realize like how lucky you are when you're a kid, but just through the John Scully relationship, we got to train and hang out with just so many
Yeah.
top pros. It's unbelievable. I mean, I don't know, you name them off, man. It was like everybody.
And our gym location was such that these guys, Marco Antonio Barrera, Costa Zoo, James Tony, Roy Jones, Prince Nassim Ahmed, all these guys would come to our gym and train. So we got to live that boxing life and see how the champions train way before HBO 24/7 or all that even came out. We got to see it right in front of us. It's a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah, pretty
The
pretty
most
good stuff.
impressive boxer to watch growing up at the train at the gym. There was very many of them, but to me was Costa Zoo. Man, that guy was a machine, boy.
Yeah, he would do some crazy stuff, right? He was like he was doing handstands and
He would do a headstand for like 30 minutes, and a handstand for 30 minutes at a time. Yeah, his conditioning was
Scully,
crazy.
Scully just texted me, said he's starting up the laptop right now.
All right, let's go, Scully. Let's go. And Tim, do you remember seeing Marco Antonio Barrera hit the pads? This dude's pad work was amazing.
I
Amazing.
just remember Zab Judah was like 4 feet tall and just rocketed himself up and dunked on that hoop we had outside
Yeah.
the gym.
Yup.
He was like this tiny dude, and his vertical was just like straight up.
And Zab back then, that was earlier in his career, and he tore the mats up in our gym from his vicious sidestepping. And if you
Yeah,
notice, Zab's career started to go downhill when he lost those vicious sidesteps in favor for standing there and engaging more. He was he was like the prime time Zab Judah when he came to our gym at that time. If he would have continued that style and that training regimen, he would have accomplished a lot more. He was a special fighter, Zab Judah.
now, what was his like? What were his biggest wins? Like, what real big names did he take out?
Well, he when he lost to Kasazu, that sent him down to a like I don't know that kind of he never regained the potential he had, but he beat Corey Spinks I think twice. He that was a big victory because Corey Spinks was the man at the time. Um, no, it's hard because most of the big fights that he was in, he took the L in. You know, most of the big fights.
Mike Pizzello just throwing pretty, really heartbreaking at me about my hanging breaking ball. You know, hey,
Oh, I remember that.
if you got something to say, Adam Moffat, you can put your phone number in the comment. All right.
Hey Tim, I wonder if you need to take off the Facebook at the same time because I think it's causing an echo. But either
Headphones.
way, the Iceman's coming up. Mayweather versus McGregor. What do the people think? Mayweather versus McGregor. Mayweather, uh, the greatest boxer of his time, um, defensive expert. His ability to adjust and adapt is second to none. And we got Conor McGregor, unknown quantity, viciously powerful and fast and just elite athlete at all strands, conditioning, everything, an elite athlete. But he has dangerous hands. I hear you sound now, T. He has dangerous hands, but like, what do you think, T? What are the chances he can land one?
My problem is, even if he lands it, like, I mean, there's a lot to get into on this. I think we're about ready to roll here. Thanks, Mr. Pizzello. Thanks for being productive and not hating on me so hard. I think it's an interesting fight. Look, if it wasn't an interesting fight, it wouldn't be what's probably going to be the largest grossing boxing match in history, right? Like, we can argue about whether it should be or whether the event that it is, but we can't argue that it's going to be the event that it is for the reason that it is such an interesting dynamic. So the Iceman, John Scully, is in the building. Former world title contender, right in there with Michael Nunn, while the Macy brothers were screaming from the table at Foxwoods Forum. World champion trainer. That guy knows everybody, right? He's got the inside scoop on everything, and he says absolutely, no doubt about it, 0% chance for Conor McGregor. So Iceman, who you are, which should be many, you can go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit and let us know, as a guy who's spent what are your thoughts on what is being called the biggest boxing match in history?
I think it's ridiculous. Can you hear me? Can you hear me well enough?
Yep.
Okay. I think it's ridiculous. I refuse to watch it. I will, in my own little protest, I am going to go Facebook Live while the fight is on to prove that I'm not watching. Because I actually have people on my page telling me I'm a liar and that I will not be able to not watch the fight. And I'm telling them, I'm not like you. I have zero interest in this fight. It means nothing to me. It means nothing to the history of boxing, to the future of boxing. And that this man has any chance. I mean, forget about Floyd. Keith Thurman, Andre Berto, even Sean Porter. Imagine Sean Porter. Sean Porter, these guys would decimate this guy. Floyd is going to toy with him, and the best thing I could say, the best analogy would be like a cat playing with an injured mouse, just playing with him and tapping him around until he decides to eat him.
Now, all right, well, that sounds good. But I mean, why do you think it's going to be as big of a spectacle as it is, right? Like, it's probably going to make more than the Mayweather Pacquiao fight, almost. And so what drives that?
Now I lost you there for a second. Your volume went off there for a second.
Why do you think this is the spectacle that it is? Like, what's driving? Why are you convinced that Conor McGregor has a chance?
Well, I'll tell you why. And I don't look. It is what it is. I have to say it my way. Most people don't know what they're looking at. Most people have no idea what they're looking at. I could convince you of anything if I had a major news station, major website to back me as a forum. I could convince people if I got ABC behind me and I went on ABC and I could name a million different things I could say that aren't true, but I could convince people that it's true. Conor McGregor has convinced people who don't know better that he has a real chance. I mean, I'll tell you how it is. My brother, who is 54 years old, my brother, he's telling me Conor McGregor is going, as soon as he hits Floyd with a clean shot, he's going to knock him out. That's what he believes. And he believes that after months and months and years of watching MMA and of listening to Conor McGregor say these things, people believe what fighters tell them. And the thing is, Conor may have some great knockouts as an MMA guy, but people need to realize he's hitting guys who don't box. They're not used to taking good punches, proper punches, professional punches. He's hitting them on the chin with 4 or 6 ounce gloves, whatever they wear, with no padding, no anything. When Conor McGregor puts those 10 ounce gloves on, he's going to be very disappointed, and he's going to have a moment when he realizes he's going to be hitting Floyd with true padding that he's used to hitting people with. So I think quickly, very quickly, he's going to realize he's in deep waters.
All right, what happens, though, if he doesn't knock him out? What happens is this is a 12-round boring fight. What's that mean for, Floyd Mayweather?
It would be a win for MMA. It would be a win because those guys, with their mentality, they will say, well, he couldn't even knock out Conor. If Conor had training, he would have beat him. All things along those lines. I don't see Conor lasting the distance mentally. Just the mentality when he realizes Floyd is putting the pressure on him. Probably the biggest aspect of this fight. Floyd Mayweather is not known as a puncher. There's no way Conor McGregor would fight a Keith Thurman or one of those guys. Forget it. Like, he would never do that. They take Floyd because he's the biggest name, but he's also perceived as not being a puncher. But I guarantee you, even if he doesn't admit it, Conor McGregor is going to say to himself at some point halfway through the first round, this guy hits twice as hard as they told me he did. Nope. Twice as hard as I thought he did. That's what's going to happen.
Yep.
All right. A lot of the guys out there, right? A lot of people don't like Floyd Mayweather, right? And so I think that adds to it. The fact that he's great, but he also has so many people that don't like him. So that automatically mentally where they really are looking for any hope that McGregor has a chance. And one thing you hear people say is, oh, but if he catches him. Tell me, who has Floyd Mayweather really been hit by, and when he got hit, what happened?
Right. I mean, people, here's where people screw up all the time. They let their personal feelings screw up their brains, their mentality, their vision. They don't like Floyd Mayweather personally. So they say, oh, he's going to get killed. He's going to get knocked out. Why can't you never hear a guy say, you know what? I can't stand Floyd Mayweather. I hate Floyd Mayweather. I despise everything about him. But he's a great fighter. You never hear people say that. They're fools. It's the same thing they did with Muhammad Ali. Every guy that says Muhammad Ali can't fight also thinks he was a draft dodger. It's never a guy that goes, you know what? He should have went to war. I'm not happy about that. But the guy was a great fighter. So people are fools, and here's the thing. Ultimately, they're going to lose a lot of money. Millions of dollars are going to be lost because people are stupid and because people bet with their hearts instead of their minds. They want Floyd Mayweather to get obliterated, and they're going to bet thinking that will see it happen. They're going to lose a lot of money, period.
Yo, Iceman, can you hear me,
yes.
sir? Hey, man. So,
I hear you.
It's B. Macy here. I was reading the New York Times. The New York Times is saying that Manny Pacquiao's upset loss is giving Conor McGregor hopes. How do you think? I see it as pretty bogus, but how in the world would Pacquiao being upset give Conor McGregor hopes?
I have no idea, but that's a writer. I don't know who wrote it, but that's a writer who has no idea what he's talking about. And the media is trying to sell a fight. They're trying to sell it because the bigger the fight is, the more newspapers they sell. So they want to be a little bit controversial. And I didn't realize that when I was younger. I've learned that in recent years, how the game is played. and the media is an entity. They're making money, and they can't make money if people don't pay for their information. So they want to make this seem like there's a chance, but in my eyes, it's going to be embarrassingly one-sided. I would consider it almost a loss if Floyd even not even lost a round, but I mean, if he got hit with a combination of more than one punch in a row, I would almost consider that a loss. I mean, that's how much of a difference there is here. I think it's going to end up where people are going to just be embarrassed.
You know, I mean, it happens all the time, kind of at the guys coming up. You know, when they bring in the opponent. Sometimes, right, you see that not as good, but is a little awkward, and he kind of makes the other guy look not as good because he has an awkward style.
But this is Floyd Mayweather.
That happening in this fight, just because he is going to be kind of awkward, and sometimes a guy's nowhere near the boxer you are, but just because he has a funny style, not as good as you really are. I mean, do you see any chance of something like that happening?
Well, I think Floyd's going to take his time in the beginning. One thing, Floyd is not stupid. He's going to take his time. A lot of people are probably going to tell Floyd to go out there and wipe McGregor out quickly, but I think Floyd will take his time and be smart. You know, sometimes these guys give you trouble, but remember, McGregor's not a boxer.
On that note, though,
Floyd's
going to take his time, right? I agree. He's going to go out there. He's going to take his time, and whatever weird stuff McGregor's going to do, he's going to figure it out in a round, and then he's going to go to work. But I will say, what I'm pretty sure McGregor's going to do is he's going to taunt and honestly, we could talk boxing, we could talk MMA, but he is unbelievable at the talking. You think there's any way he gets in Mayweather's head and has Mayweather come on a little quicker? And maybe, like you said, even if McGregor lands a combination, Mayweather's lost the fight. Like, any chance Mayweather losing his head and not being as patient as he should?
I mean, I don't think so. I think Floyd is a consummate professional in that regard. And, you know, I just don't see any chance. I think that the guy is going to realize he's going to get in. It would be like if Floyd decided he could do MMA with this guy. And then Floyd got in there, and when he tried to grab McGregor, and McGregor, like, slapped his hand away or whatever it is they do, he'd realize, like, this is not my game. This is not my thing. And, you know, I think he's going to be ridiculously made to be look ridiculous early on. And I think more than likely Floyd is going to have McGregor scared to do anything. I think McGregor's going to end up being a deer in the headlights, and it's just going to be, you know, I'll give an example. Give you a perfect example. And you guys are young, you probably don't remember this, but when William Joppy fought Roberto Duran, and at one time Duran was a great fighter, obviously, but he was just a shell of himself. He had nothing. And it was literally a thing where he couldn't even react to Joppy. Like, Joppy beat him literally like he was beating an old man. It was like Duran was 100 years old. That's what it was like. And I think it's going to be similar to that. Like, McGregor is going to have no idea where the punches are coming from. And again, remember this. He's going to say to himself, Floyd Mayweather punches way, 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 way harder than they told me he did.
Yeah. Iceman, I agree with you on everything. What do you think about this, though? There's so much money at hand. And this man, Floyd Mayweather, is responsible for the promotion also. And imagine how much money would be made in the rematch. Do you think there's possibly anything fishy happening?
No, I do not see Floyd Mayweather. Someone brought that up the other day. They said, imagine Floyd loses on purpose, and then the rematch makes $200 million. And I'm saying, number one, he's already, even now without this fight, he has more money than he's ever going to spend in his life. So the other money, he's gonna be taking care of distant relatives that he's never met for the next 100 years. I don't see that happening because, above all else, I just see Floyd as being extremely proud of being undefeated. And
Yep, feel that.
even if he say he threw the fight and lost, and then he came back and knocked out McGregor in 10 seconds, it wouldn't fix it. And I think there's zero chance that Floyd would do that.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
The
And
thing is, though, he doesn't have to lose to make the $500 million rematch. All he has to do, fight for 12 rounds and have it be a good fight and a close fight, and they're going to want a rematch. He can win. That's what's interesting.
Right, but I just don't see it. I just don't see Mayweather doing that to himself. Nobody's going to convince me that that'll happen. If that happens, I'd be the most shocked guy on earth.
I agree, and I would say I would never do certain things or whatever, but I mean, it's literally $500 million. So whatever that is a variable, I always think there's an interesting possibility. Is all.
Right.
But anyways, look, we can all agree in this circle. I am gonna watch the fight because I mean I'm in. Definitely watch the fight. Iceman. It. You're not going to watch it. You're actually going to Facebook Live. You're on, so people know that you're not during.
hey, Tim, I don't mean to change.
Right.
Iceman, like you said, man.
Yeah.
I want to know. We only got 7 minutes left for you. As a real boxing fan, this Mayweather McGregor is probably the biggest fight in history, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It's not even the best fight of the month. Canelo Triple G, man. What's the breakdown on that one?
What's the what? Say it again.
Canelo and Triple G. What do you got for that one? What's the breakdown on that fight?
You know what? I think the jab, Triple G's jab is going to be huge. I saw the picture of them together. Now, I've met Triple G one time, and I remember being kind of surprised that he wasn't that big of a guy. He was kind of a smaller guy. They showed a picture of him and Canelo next to each other, and I was actually amazed at how much taller he is than Canelo. With that being said, his jab is one of the best jabs maybe ever. I mean, his jab is very precise, very hard.
Very hard.
He's going to have Canelo working overtime just to get out of the way of that. And so I can't see him being strong enough to beat him, only because he's going to need movement, good movement, and I don't think he's got the elusive movement like Danny Jacobs. Danny Jacobs was successful because he's very elusive. Canelo boxes good, but I don't think he has that natural elusiveness like Danny had.
Yeah.
And you need more than just good boxing. You need elusiveness, and I don't think Canelo really has that.
And Canelo doesn't have the foot mobility like Danny Jacobs can move around the ring better. It's going to be tough,
right,
man.
That's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like Danny's good with his feet. Danny's good with his feet, and Canelo is a traditional boxer. He uses nice steps and everything, but he's not fluid. He's not elusive. He doesn't have that rhythm like a Roy Jones, like a Cassius Clay. He doesn't have that. And one thing about boxing people need to realize and remember is that regardless of your skill and your technique and all these things, when you hit as hard as Triple G apparently hits, I mean, people spar with him and they say it's insane how hard he hits. It's unfair. And all the technique in the world doesn't mean anything if a guy can hit you and knock you out with any given time. At any given time, he can catch you. You've got to be concerned with that. You've got to be aware of that. That fixes or that alters your game plan. No matter who you are, that alters your game plan. And I just don't see Canelo having that in him to fight the perfect fight. Like I say, almost like Danny. Danny almost fought the perfect fight there. I don't think Canelo really has that.
No, and like you said, Triple G showed his jab in that fight. Danny was giving him all these new things that he had never been presented with, and he was timing Danny and getting some serious work done with his jab. Triple G, like he showed weaknesses in that fight, but he also showed a new side that previously hadn't been exposed. Man is going to be tough to beat, and I don't think Canelo gets it done either. I think he could beat him for 6 rounds, maybe 7 rounds, but over the whole fight, I think Triple G is too strong. I think he's going to wear him down.
Right, because he's going to be there to hit much more than Danny was.
Yep.
And Danny, like obviously Danny fought the fight he did because he had to, because he felt that power and he realized I need to be perfect. I need to fight the right fight. And that's just human nature to survive. And Canelo, I don't think, and also as a Mexican, you know, certain guys, they take that very seriously, and you can't run. You can't be a Mexican hero and run. So I think he's going to want to bang a little more, and he'd rather go out like that than and be perceived as a coward, so to speak.
Yeah. You take a guy like Canelo. When is? I mean, has anybody rocked him? You know,
I've never seen Triple G hurt. Not personally. Either.
So it'll be an interesting test. But look, back to it. I need the question answered. What are you going to watch during the Mayweather fight?
I mean, I'll probably be out at the movies or something. I'm gonna make it out. I want to be somewhere where I can go live and people can see that I'm not watching the fight. I want people to know, because people have called me out on it, said, "Oh, you're watching the fight. You'll watch the fight. You're definitely gonna watch the fight." I said, "Okay." I said, "I'll go live. I'll prove to you all that I'm not watching this fight."
All right, hey, good stuff, man. Well, I'm glad we had you on. Thanks for taking the time. B Mace, thanks for jumping on. And
wait, one last thing, Tim.
Go ahead.
Iceman, Andre Ward,
yes,
Kovalev. Andre Ward, you know, he did end. There was some low blows, and what did you think?
Yeah, this is a good one.
I thought, on the one hand, I mean, the fight, I didn't like the way it ended at all. He was stopped with a low blow. He got hit with a low blow. The referee immediately stopped it. That was wrong. There's no way that fight should have been stopped on that last punch. He got hit with a brutal low blow. That being said, 10 seconds before that, I said to myself, Andre's about to stop him. Just on body language. And Brian, you know this as me as a trainer. I'm very, very big on body language.
Yeah.
And I notice all that kind of stuff as a trainer and as a boxer. To me, Kovalev did everything but say, "I give up." Like his body language was, "I'm done, I'm done, I'm done." And I think that's more than anything, that's what the referee saw. The referee saw that his body language said, "I'm done." And when he sagged after the low blow, it's terrible that it happened on the last punch being a low blow, because it was obviously a low blow. I think if they gave him a few minutes rest and let him go back into the fight, I think Andre was picking up steam in a big way. The fight was going to be over regardless.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was the right ending happened, but the manner in which it ended, you know, it leaves a little dark cloud over it.
The problem, it's like he hit him with a low blow, right? Obviously a low blow. But the reason he hit him with the low blow is because Kovalev was hunched over, kind of giving up, and he was trying to hit him to the body. And just the way he was kind of curled under, it was kind of hard to land a body shot, and he ended up inadvertently hitting him with a low blow. But the reason he got hit with a low blow is because he was kind of, like you said, it looked like he was giving up.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But either way, like the punch did land low.
Yeah.
So you can't stop it on a low blow. But yeah, you're right. Like, that's what I mean. He was in that position because he was what I call caving. He was caving in. The fight was going to end regardless within a minute or so anyway. Andre looked very good. Andre looked strong, the strongest he's ever looked professional, I thought, physically and mentally. That was the strongest. He was on a mission, and he did it. He looked very strong, very good.
Good stuff. Hey, any other fights? Any other guys we should be on the lookout for?
I wanted to ask Iceman about this guy because Vasyl Lomachenko, people are rating him #1 pound for pound. He doesn't even have 10 professional fights yet, man.
Crazy.
I'm amazed watching the guy. What do you think, Ice?
Yeah, no, he's incredible. It's almost like his body isn't human. It's like he's not human, like he's an alien. The way he moves, and he's almost like he's actually. I've told people many times. I've said, you have to step. Like I train fighters, and I might have said this to you at one time. I said, you know what, you got to step. And I said, imagine fighting a guy. You'd never do this, but imagine who just constantly was stepping and moving. How hard it would be to fight him. Well, that's what you want to do. You want to try and do that. Not realizing that along comes this guy, Lomachenko. That's basically what he does. He's just constantly in movement. You can't set yourself. You can't find him. And he's punching back every time you make a move. So it's got to be a nightmare to fight him. If there was a guy as a light heavyweight who was able to move that fluidly and punch. I was going to say Roy Jones, but this guy moves twice as much as Roy. Like literally twice as much. He's constantly moving and punching. Roy Jones is the closest thing to it. And Roy Jones, as you know, in his prime, it must have been terrible fighting him.
Yeah, and he's more technically conventional than Roy Jones. I feel like he doesn't have quite the wild card style Roy Jones has, but the foot movement is the same extraordinary foot movement.
Right, and the way he punches off it, it's a textbook thing. If you want to show fighters how to do it, you have them watch him because the way he steps and punches is beautiful. It's perfect. It's unbelievable. That's the way, you get, when people say you get hurt with a shot that you don't see, they're talking about him, a guy like him who runs you into punches and you're so aggressive and you're trying to find him and here he goes, he blasts you with something. Very exciting, very, very good to watch, very fun.
Well, how do you feel about the fact, can you really call him when he's only had, 9 fights? Or 8 fights? What are we at?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I see both sides of the argument. On the one hand, you say, he has not beaten the absolute best out there and et cetera, et cetera. On the other hand, you say, well, just watch him. I mean, is he the best or is he not? I think this. If a fighter, especially a younger fighter, if you said to him, all right, here's what we're going to do, just like with Roy Jones back in the day. If I said to a young fighter, all right, look, watch all these guys, watch 10 guys, tell me if I could magically give you the skills and the speed and everything of one of these guys, who would you want? I would have to think most people would wish they could fight like Lomachenko. But that's what I believe because he's exciting, he's interesting, he moves, he punches, he's knocking guys out, he can't. And people, you watch him and you're saying, you're just like in awe. You're just watching him and you're in awe of what he does. So it's I understand both sides of the argument. There's no real true answer, but I understand both sides.
Nice.
My bad. What about Mikey Garcia, Adrian Broner? That's going to be a good scrap. I feel like Mikey Garcia is too versatile. I feel like Mikey Garcia will beat him, but Adrian Broner, man, is a tough dude, and he can punch, he can crack. Right.
You know what? It's a case where I think I'm like most people. I hope Mikey wins. I really do. I'm not a fan of Adrian Broner as a boxer, as a person, just his image within the game. We don't need that. I don't think we need him. But he is good. He is a good fighter. He could give Mikey big problems. I think at this point the momentum, and I think maybe a little more versatile, is Mikey. I would if I had to bet, I'd go with Mikey Garcia, but I wouldn't be comfortable betting because Adrian is powerful and he has that good style. He lets his hands go. When he lets his hands go, they come off nice combinations. So it's a very good fight for sure.
Yeah, Mikey Garcia. These guys are like a new evolution of Mexican boxers. I feel like I mean, there's been other technical boxers in the past, but like when Marco Antonio Barrera lost those fights to Junior Jones and he came back much more technical, these guys are all picking up the technical expertise, the new breed of Mexican fighters.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah. It's a different. Juan Mel Marquez and those guys. Yeah. They're not just like back in the '70s, the famous ones, Zarada and Zamora and these guys. They were banging it out. The fights were, fights of the year every time out. Now they're counter punchers and they're doing different things like that. So yeah. Their game is evolving for sure.
Who's your favorite Mexican fighter in the game?
I mean, it's hard for me to say. I haven't been following the game like I used to. I'll tell you, of all time, I like Salvador Sanchez and Marco Antonio Barrera. Those two guys, are guys that I really like. If you call Mikey Garcia Mexican, then I like him.
All right. Hey, so if we're gonna roll this thing, let's dive into the Pacquiao deal a little bit. So tough decision.
Okay.
I mean, was it a bad decision, or was it just a decision that you think didn't go the way it should have? I mean, was it a total robbery fight?
Well, the thing for me is it's hard to say because I didn't see the whole fight. But the parts that I saw, I was surprised that Pac-Man was getting hit with shots that he didn't even appear to see coming. They were very unorthodox shots, and a few times, I mean, his head was bouncing around. You have to give credit for aggression and desire to win, and those type of clean shots. But again, I didn't see the whole thing, so I can't really say who won. The general consensus from people that I know seems to be either a draw or Pacquiao edged it out.
Okay.
I have a few for the other guy, but listen, fellas, I have a very important phone call coming in. I have to take this call. It's very important, boxing related.
All right, Iceman.
All right, B-Mace, we're gonna end this. We'll talk to you guys next time.
All right, thank you. I appreciate you guys having me on. Thank you. All right. Hello.